Hey, this is Chris, Leakris Computers, a wholly owned subsidiary of Leakris Enterprises. I was thinking about virtual machines this morning. Actually, I've been thinking about virtual machines for a couple of weeks. The last big computer job I did, the last significant one, aside from cleaning people's individual machines up, the company had a program that ran its semi-automated wood-cutting machines using a program that could only run on Windows XP. And so when they upgraded their computers the last time, which was probably about 6 years ago, what they did is they ran the program on what's called a virtual machine. So they could make a virtual machine run Windows XP inside of Windows 7. But to the program, it's running Windows XP. And so it doesn't interface. The programs inside that XP box do not interface with the Windows 7 operating system directly. So a program running inside a virtual machine thinks it's running inside. It's as though there was a computer that actually had Windows XP loaded onto it. The program doesn't know any difference. It behaves exactly the same. And so I got to thinking about that. It's like it really makes sense to do things like that. First of all, they have a virtual machine on an external hard drive. That virtual machine, when it's not on, well, even when it is on, but it's just a bunch of files on a hard drive. That's all it is. And the VMware program then turns it into something that actually works. For lack of a better way to put it. It's kind of complicated, but so, VMware accesses all those files and it opens up a virtual machine inside, like in this example is Windows 7, opens up a Windows XP machine inside Windows 7. So the programs that need to run Windows XP can run Windows XP and can still interface with the equipment that the people need all the commands to go to. And so it does. So what it does is the XP, I call it a box. The XP box interfaces with the Windows XP with the Windows 7 operating system, which then interfaces with the hardware of the computer itself and sends the bytes of instruction where they need to go, when they need to get there, and how they need to get there, and everything. And so that's how that works. And so, as you can see, there's an extra step there. There's an extra layer that needs to be gone through in order for the end result and the end result being the wood gets cut. And so, but that extra overhead is overcome by the fact that it's so convenient, and machines are so much faster than they used to be when virtual machines first came out that you can't tell. I mean, a Windows XP virtual machine, if you give it the same amount of virtual resources that a real Windows XP machine has, it's probably 90% as fast. I mean, it's still plenty speedy. So I was thinking about that. The first thing I thought about virtual machine is, wow, if a virtual machine is just a bunch of files on a hard drive, then that virtual machine is ultimately portable. You can take it, you can put it, as long as you have VMware installed on whatever computer you're putting them onto, you could run that virtual machine on any other machine as long as there's enough hardware to make it go. So as long as the host machine has sufficient amount of hardware, it'll work. And so that's ultimately portable. So if I put a virtual machine on my laptop, for example, and my laptop screen goes out, or if something else happens to my laptop, I can just, like just say the motherboard fries or something like that. I just take the hard drive out of my machine, put it in put it in an external enclosure, right? Plug it into another machine, install VMware on that machine, point VMware to that virtual machine, and it will start and it will run. And I haven't lost anything. I haven't lost a thing. So it's ultimately portable. I'm also thinking about from the standpoint of security. there's that, like I said, there's an extra layer of machine there. Generally speaking, when somebody's trying to attack a Windows operating system, all they got to do is penetrate the operating system, and they're in. Well, now, if somebody's writing a virus for Windows, if they get my virtual machine, it's not that, okay, that's bad, but it's not ultimately bad because it's not going to get the underlying operating system. So if somebody had written a virus for XP and then somehow gotten onto their virtual machine, it's not likely. It's possible. I've been reading on the internet about this. Anything's possible with a computer pretty much, but it's unlikely that code is going to be able to affect the host machine, because there's basically a firewall in between the virtual machine and the host machine. Now, if you've got a bunch of add-ons installed in that virtual machine to make it interface with, like being able to insert and remove USB drives and things of that nature, that does create an avenue for a virus to get from a virtual machine into some hardware. But I think when you're talking about that, still the chances are pretty slim. It would be a magnitude harder to get a host machine running a virtual machine infected with a virus than it is just a host machine running an operating system. And then the other advantage that I realized is, anytime you want, when you're running that virtual machine, you can save the state of it. You can say, I want to save this machine just the way it is. And so it saves another set of files, another set of virtual machine files. Well, it saves a special file actually. Everything else stays the same. And it tells VMware how to build that virtual machine the next time it starts up. And so, like, I could save the state of a virtual machine every Saturday night. If I wake up on Monday morning and turn on my virtual machine and it gets infected by a virus, I don't have to run my Malwarebytes. I don't have to run my antivirus scan. I don't even have to worry about anything. All I got to do is shut down the virtual machine, point VMware to the last saved. Gosh, the little flies in here. I can't believe it. What date is it? It's like December. And there's still insects buzzing around my head inside my car. I could just point it back to that saved state from 2 days previously and start it back up, and voila, there's no virus, there's no nothing, because that machine did not have a virus. And so therefore, when I restart that machine, so I lose, whatever data I accumulated Monday morning, but compared that to losing your whole computer, that's a no-brainer. So I think what I'm going to the three advantages to using a virtual machine are portability. You can use it on any computer that has enough hardware to run the stuff and has VMware installed. It provides an extra layer of security because a virus has to penetrate not just the virtual machine. It has to penetrate the virtual machine to get to the host machine. And third, it's a really good way to back up your data and keep it safe. Because if you do get a virus, all you need to do is stop that machine and restart the machine you saved the previous day or the previous week, or hopefully not the previous month, but that's how people are, right? But that's a whole lot easier than having to run a backup every night, and then knowing how most backup programs work, having to reload an entire operating system and rebuild your entire working experience from scratch. I mean, that's a pain. This way, you just turn it on, point it to the right file, turn it on, boom, you're back to where you were. You lose a little bit of info, but not much, hopefully, because you save the state of your machine often. And works for 3 good reasons. So I think I'm going to do that on my computer at some point. I need to get a little bit more RAM to do that, because you got to understand that whatever resources a virtual machine uses, it takes away from the host machine. It's no longer available to the host machine. So, and that's another neat thing too. You can run 2 operating systems at the same time, actively, in like 2 separate windows on the same desktop. You can do that. So, all right. Is your mind expanded today? Do you feel better? Does it hurt a little bit? I hope so. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the section below. Like and subscribe. We appreciate it when you do. We'll see you on the next video.